Season 2 is the best patch Tekken has ever had. I'm joking. I'm joking. Hear me out. Hear me out. Listen, I know it's not the best, okay? But it's actually not the worst too. I'm After School Sophie. I haven't seen any positive feedback about Season 2, and I actually think the patch is not that bad. People have asked me on Twitch to make a YouTube video, so here I am. Wabba Zoom. So how do people feel about Season 2?
I do not agree with the direction of the Season 2 changes, and I wanted to put together a video that will capture those frustrations.
Many pros absolutely hate Season 2. So far, I think it's all of them, to be honest. So why do I think I even have anything to add to the conversation? Because I have the power of anime. I'm just joking. Here's a little information about me. I'm one of the only people that actually believes in Season 2 and is willing to stand up for my beliefs even if they are against the popular opinion. I've also done well in many tournaments, competing and even beating pro players. So I might have an interesting perspective for some of you. Also, I've reached God with 7 characters, and one of them supreme because the season ended. I've provided coaching services for a little over 50 players, so I'm pretty familiar with all skill ranges in Tekken. Oh, and another thing, I'm actually a defensive player. I enjoy breaking throws on reaction and doing drills whenever I have time. And last but not least, I have reviewed all patch notes for Season 2, which approximately took 15 hours. It's a lot of work. With that being said, let's talk about Season 2. One of the most honest and in-depth takes I've seen on Season 2 is from FDX. This guy is really good in Tekken, and is very knowledgeable about the game. FDX has been getting some backlash over his pessimistic review of Season 2. But I do want to point out that he's usually pretty optimistic. I don't think he's intentionally turning people away from the game. This is just a side effect of his honest opinion. With that said, I can understand how lots of people have lost hope for Tekken, which is exactly why I decided to start this video series. I can't find anything but doom and gloom talk about Tekken, and since I love this game so much, I think it's important to represent the other side of the coin. To start things off, I'll be going over all of the examples that FDX gives in his video called What's Wrong with Tekken 8 Season 2. I'll be focusing on 2 main types of discussions in this series. One is objective discussions. These are data-driven, they're factual, they're verifiable. So these are things like depth, balance, stuff like that. The second category is going to be on subjective discussions. This is more like personal opinions, feelings, and interpretations. So identity of a character might be one, intended weaknesses, fun, and design philosophies. To cover these topics thoroughly, I'll focus more on the objective topics and address subjective topics in their own standalone video. I think this will cut down on the length and make it more fun for everybody. And with that taken care of, let's listen to FDX.
The number one reason why I think people are so upset is from these quotes here. This was an Evo trailer, or an interview with the Evo team, and a bit of a trailer before the Season 2 release. And in this interview, Nakatsu, the game director, said, "In terms of strategy, I feel we weren't able to balance the defensive aspects that well. That's why for Season 2, we'd like to focus on defense in terms of the lateral aspects of a 3D fighting game, and the ease of defending when being attacked." So this set a really high bar and expectation for most of the Tekken community, especially the people who've been playing for a long time, and were really frustrated with how Season 1 was so aggressive. But, to put it shortly, nearly every character has had moves added or properties changed to improve tracking or improve their offense. This interview coupled with the reality of the patch notes there is where I think the number one piece of frustration is coming from.
I totally agree with everyone here. Tekken devs should not have exaggerated defensive play with how insignificant the buffs are. I know many pros were looking forward to defensive options and were pretty disappointed.
लेकिन जो डिफेंसिव प्लेयर है उनकी बारी है सीजन 2 के अंदर, तो लोगों को बहुत उम्मीदें थी यार कि अब हमारे, मैं खुद भी सोचा था यार सीजन 2 में अब देखना यार तुम लोग जो होंगे मार तो मतलब आते रहा खेलना यार, जो तुम लोग ये कर रहे हो सीजन 2 में नहीं आ, तो सब लोग सोच रहे थे यार कि सीजन 2 काफ़ी आएगा, जो इवन के जो सही बात बिगड़ी ना वो यहाँ से बिगड़ी.
Basically, we got sidestep into foreground and easier sidesteps after blocking moves. But that's about it. As a defensive player myself, I was also hoping we could get more defensive options. But I know those options are in direct conflict with the core motivations of Tekken 8. So while I think the devs set expectations too high here, I'm still happy about being able to sidestep into the foreground and easier sidesteps in general. But is what FeeDX saying true?
Nearly every character has had moves added or properties changed to improve tracking or improve their offense.
I do agree with some parts of this statement, but the entire thing might be unclear as to what relates to what. How true are all of the branches? Just because some parts are true doesn't mean the entire tree is true. Take it at face value, this could lead to some misconceptions for the community. Like if I were to say, nearly every person saves money or spends money to give it to charity or buy something they want, someone might think nearly every person saves money or spends money to give it to charity, which isn't true. Combining all of it together can be confusing. The takeaway for many people might be that nearly every character has both improved tracking and improved offense. This is a problem. People kept telling me in my Twitch chat that this was the case. Playing on Ranked, I still felt there was plenty of opportunities to sidestep, but the doom and gloom started to make me wonder what reality really was. Improved offense I can agree with. I'm pretty sure every character got buffs in Season 2. But what about the trackability part? To find out more, I took the liberty of scouring 1,500 changes of the patch notes for Season 2.
Currently we have over 1,500 items on the list currently, so that should give you an idea of the volume.
I looked at all new moves and all changes to trackability. I also brought them into practice mode to see the trackability results for myself. Also, some moves weren't added to the list for various reasons. For example, I stumbled upon this move with Jin that says he has dual boot. This is an Alyssa stance. I'm not exactly sure what this was supposed to be. I also did not count moves that had any changes to tracking after being hit, because being hit usually means you can't sidestep anyways. This is just the developer's way of making sure the next hit doesn't randomly whiff in very specific circumstances. It really isn't adding to what we're talking about when we want to find moves that track an opponent in neutral. Also, keep in mind a move may look like it tracks, but it actually doesn't have any inherent tracking properties. Instead, what's happening is you're starting the move after you've already realigned with your opponent, which is a technique people use to make almost any move track. This is called realigning. I made sure to test while running and sidestepping moves as well, to make sure the animation started before the opponent started sidestepping. This is to ensure the move doesn't track because of realignment alone. So, did Season 2 change the game to where nearly every character got improved tracking? Here's what I found. Out of 37 characters, Season 2 only gave 17 of them moves that track to both sides. That's a staggering 45.95%. I found a total of 25 moves. I also wanted to see what kind of counterplay we have to defend against these moves. But what exactly is counterplay? After all, every Tekken player is different. What might be considered counterplay to one might not even be possible for someone else. For example, not everyone has fast reaction times. So telling a person a grab has counterplay because it's reactable doesn't really apply to that person specifically. Essentially, it's not reactable to that person. It depends on your reaction time. not everyone can break grabs on reaction. So instead, I'll let you as the player decide what's important to you, and just provide the unbiased data. Because counterplay is different for everyone, I'll use the phrase possible weaknesses. I'll categorize all moves based on the top 4 possible weaknesses. The possible weaknesses are: the move is high, so it can be ducked and launched for big damage, or it can be high crushed as well. Another possible weakness is slow. I'm defining a slow move as a move that has 20 frames of startup or slower. Also, they might require you to sidestep or be in some stance before even starting the move. So if you have a reaction time of 166.67 milliseconds, you can train your response against this move. I'll explain how I get that number in another video. If you've taken coaching from me, you already know how I got it. These moves are hard to frame trap with, because most moves don't give plus 10 frame advantage. Outside of massive plus frame situations, if you predict these types of moves by attacking, you'll probably land a counter hit. Also, your opponent has to predict you're gonna block for them to finish the animation. And we get to low moves. Low moves can be crushed. They can be low parried. If you're good at making reads, you can exploit these moves. Another possible weakness is heat required. All this means is that the move requires heat to use. Out of these 25 moves, I found that 92%, or 23 out of the 25 moves, have at least one or more possible weakness. Only 8% didn't make the cut for having any possible weakness. These are Anna's 1+2, which requires a counter hit to get good reward, and Zafina's back 1+2, which honestly is very good, but it's 19 frames, so it doesn't quite make the cut from a slow move. Now, I'm not a Zafina player, so I don't know if you can easily frame trap this, but if you know, let me know in the comments section. I'd love to know. 60% of those moves, or 15 out of 25, were slow moves. 52% were high, 20% required heat to even be activated, and only 4% could be low parried or crushed. These are the characters that have moves or properties added that track to both sides. Additionally, 15 out of 37 characters, or 40.54%, surprisingly weren't impacted by Season 2 changes at all. Which honestly is kinda crazy. Also, I found it interesting that Jax Makes Some Noise doesn't have any tracking abilities on its own. It only seemed to track if preceded by 2-1. But remember, FDX said improved trackability, which could just be one-sided tracking. I tested those moves too, and here's what I found. For the characters that had one-sided tracking moves, I found 5 out of the 37, which is 13.51%. I found 6 total moves, 4 of which, or 66.67%, had possible weaknesses. 50% were high, 33.33% did not qualify, which is Jin's back forward 2, an I-15 mid that tracks to Jin's right, and Yoshimitsu's up forward 1, which is a I-17 mid that tracks to Yoshi's left. The final move is Reina's Unsoku down 4 low. Yes, it's crushable and low parryable, but it also qualifies for being slow because it needs 20 frames and a stance to start up, so it could be possible to be reacted to by pro players. Here's all the one-sided moves. I hope this information provides a more accurate understanding of how Season 2 has impacted the trackability of the entire cast. These are my findings at the time of making this video, but I didn't test every single move for possible shadow changes. If you know of any extra information that we can make to improve the accuracy, please let me know. There was a lot of patch notes and I did a lot of testing, so I'm sure I probably made a mistake somewhere. Thanks for watching the first video in this series, where I will be doing my best to provide accurate information about Season 2. I'll also respond to how the community sees the game at large. But I need your input too. Drop your thoughts on what you'd like me to do in the future. Also, I'll probably host some live discussions about Season 2 on my Twitch channel, so join in on those if you want. This video took a lot of research time and effort, so please like and subscribe if you learned something. This is the first highly edited YouTube video I've done, and I'm trying to improve. Please let me know what you think in the comments section below. I hope you have a fantastic day, and keep on Tekkening. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, consider liking and subscribing. It would mean the world to me. Any feedback in the comments is greatly appreciated. I hope you have a fantastic day. And of course, love ya, love ya, love ya. Bye!